McCarlan's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the flat, what a goal!
Arriving, Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score now we're looking for.
Conor Turban kicks this one in, that's absolutely superb.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. We're doing this podcast this evening just reacting to the senior and intermediate championship draws that took place on Tuesday night. There's a lot of intriguing and interesting matchups that we're going to see in the group stages, and of course it's the same setup as the championship was last year and pretty much the same as the inter-county round robin series as well. So there's 4 teams per group. The top team in the group will go through to the quarterfinals, while second and third place play off. Second in one group will play a third from a different group and so on, while whoever finishes bottom of the group exits the championship at the first hurdle. So we're just going to basically run through the groups and we'll talk about a few of the interesting matchups that we're about to see and the interesting talking points from each group. So starting with intermediate, we have Group A here. We have St Paul's, Shane O'Neill's, White Cross and Tiernan all making up that group. And the interesting thing here is, I suppose, St Paul's have made 3 of the last 4 intermediate championship finals and just haven't got over the line yet. They reached the final last year and come up against a fairly strong Cullyhanna side that went on to win the intermediate All-Ireland, and St Paul's just come up short in the final. So they'll be hoping from their point of view to go one step further this year. They'll be taking on Shane O'Neill's in their group, and the pair met in the 2022 final, of course, when a late Paul O'Rourke goal handed Shane's the intermediate title. That was on a scoreline of 2-11 to 113 back in 2022. White Cross and Tiernan were also in this group, and they were also in the same group last season, and they played in the first round of Group B in 2023, with Tiernan winning away from home 4-12 to 112 on Oisin Connaday, who of course had an almighty season with Armagh this year and helping them across the line in the All-Ireland final. He scored 2-4 that day, so White Cross will be well warned of his impact. Group B then, we have Katy, Grange, Wolf Tones and Crossmaglen seconds, and the interesting thing here is that it's pretty much the same group as last year, only the Grange have replaced Cullaville. So last year it was Katy, Cullaville, Wolf Tones and Cross, but Grange have of course replaced Cullaville, who have went up to senior this year. So in the results last year then, Cross seconds and Wolf Tones played in the first round, and Wolf Tones won that day 2-7 to 0-9. In round 2, the Tones played Katy and the sides drew. It was Wolf Tones 1-12, Katy 2-9. And in the final group game then last year, it was Katy 1-13, Cross 0-12. So the sides all know each other fairly well at this stage. Of course, Cross have been relegated to Division 3A for next season. So to remain as a senior team, they'll have to remain as an intermediate team, they'll have to win the intermediate championship. They exited the group last year, so that's a point of improvement that they can make this year. Another subplot in this group is the Wolf Tones manager, Peter Nugent, was involved with the Grange when they won the intermediate championship back in 2019. So he'll know all about them and they'll know all about him. Group C then, we have Division 2A league winners, Pearse Oaks, Annetmore, Derrynoose and Clonmore. So Pearse Oaks and Annetmore were drawn into the same group last year as well. They were in Group B and they met in round 1 with Pearse Oaks securing a 1-11 to 0-11 win in the opening round. Vincey Brady grabbed the all-important goal that day. Derrynoose reached the quarterfinal of the intermediate championship last year. They were knocked out by eventual winners Cullyhanna, and of course they have Conor McNally in their ranks, and he was the 3rd top scorer across the intermediate championship last year. He put up 3-28 despite his side being knocked out at the quarterfinals. Clonmore won Division 3A last year, so they were up into intermediate this year, but they have been relegated. They finished bottom of Division 2B. So like Crossmaglen seconds, they'll have to win the intermediate championship or they're going down for next season. Group D then, it's made up of Caircruppen, Tullysarn, Division 2B winners Balik, and last year's junior champions Clonerne. Not too much recent history in this group. Caircruppen and Tullysarn did meet in the championship in 2021. However, they clashed in the championship semi-final, with Caircruppen running out 113-19 winners that day, and Caircruppen went on to win the intermediate championship, beating Cullaville in the final. So that's pretty much our intermediate championship wrapped up. We did speak to Pearse Óg player Anto Duffy. He's one of just two Pearse Óg players that are still there from 2009 and have senior championship medals in their back pockets. The other, of course, is his older brother Paul. So we're going to hear from Anto now, and then we'll discuss the senior championship draw for 2024. John, Pearse Óg's drawn in with Ankmore, Derrynoosa and Clonmore. Your immediate reaction?
It's good. It's a good draw. It's two teams that haven't played before, and just take every team as it comes.
That's probably the main objective in the group stages. Anto, is just, as you say, there's probably a bit of unknown there. So just taking every game as it comes. It's week by week, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and just hopefully stay injury free. It's just, as you said there, you don't know too much about them all two teams, and it's just trying to get your homework done, really.
And you're obviously going in now, having already secured your spot in senior next year. Does that derail your preparations or anything? Are you still focused on trying to get the intermediate championship one as well?
Yeah, well, that's the main aim, is to win the championship. But one of our main aims at the start of the year was to get back into senior football. It's a very hard division to get out of. And we've talked to a few teams before where they've been into intermediate, and they've said, it's like you get into intermediate, we'll go up next year, and there's teams in it for 10-15 years. So we're just happy enough to get out of it. And
how important is it to get back out of it, Anto? Because I know you're one of the few Oaks players that still playing that has a senior championship medal. So to get back up into that grade, I'm sure you are all delighted.
It is, yeah. It's good for the younger fellas. We have a lot of young boys coming through there, and that wee year experience down there has stood them in good stead. So hopefully now they push on.
And those young fellas coming through, there's a lot of talented young fellas coming through there too. So obviously that is shown in you winning Division 2A.
Yeah, it's very, very. There's a lot of young boys coming through there. It's actually hard enough to get your spot back. Now I was out injured for a few weeks there, and I don't know who do you take out of that team to put me back in. That's just the way it is.
And you've been that young fella coming through, but you're one of the older heads at the minute, Anto. Are you passing on much advice, or how is that working for you?
Yeah, I try to give as much advice as possible. It's only me and Paul, the only two fellas in the team now with senior medals, and winning that league is probably the first medal any of boys have won in a long time. So it's good to win the league and get that wee bit of momentum now going forward.
Good stuff, Anto. Thanks very much.
Cheers, thank you.
Good man. Cheers. So looking on to the senior championship then, again, same structure as the intermediate, and we have four really interesting groups here as well. And as usual, we'll start with Group A, which is made up of Silverbridge, Cleavey, Cullaville and Cullyhanna. As I already mentioned when discussing the intermediate championship, Cullyhanna, of course, were the intermediate winners last year and went all the way to win Ulster and All-Ireland, while Cullaville, they were promoted to the senior championship, having won Division 2A last year. So both sides coming up into this championship with silverware from last season. Cleavey are, of course, under new management. They have Niall McAleenan in charge this year, and he guided Graham Moore to the championship final in 2022. But they will be without Conor O'Neill, who picked up an Achilles injury playing for Armagh this year, and he'll be out for the rest of the season. Silverbridge were Division 1B winners last year, and they've made an impressive step up into Division 1A this year, finishing third behind Clonerne and Crossmaglen. So they'll be one of the up-and-coming teams and perhaps one of the dark horses for the senior championship. And that group is a really tough one to call. All four neighbours, all four South Armagh teams. So there's going to be a couple of really exciting games in Group A. Group B then is made up of Crossmaglen, Greenmore, Clonagale and Sarsfields. Of course, Crossmaglen, back-to-back winners of the senior championship, and their last two victories in the finals have come against Greenmore and Clonagale, who they're going to come up against this year. It's pretty much the same group as last year as well, with Greenmore coming into the mix. The group last year contained Crossmaglen, Clonagale and Sarsfields, so they all know each other fairly well. Cross did beat Greenmore in that 2022 championship final 119 to 010, where they beat Clans in last year's championship final 216 to 17. In the group stages last year, Cross and Clans drew in the opening round in David Park. It finished Clonagale 113, Cross Glen 016. Cross also travelled to Sarsfields last year and come away with an impressive 13-point win. They picked up a 2-12 to 0-5 victory. And in the final round last year, Clonagale were 6-point winners over Sarsfields in a really entertaining open game at David Park. Clans won in the end 4-12 to 2-12. So some really interesting matchups thrown up in Group B that are well worth looking forward to. Group C then, we have Clonerne, who are the back-to-back Division 1 league winners. They picked up their second league title a few weeks ago, topping the Division 1A league table. Of course, last year they'd won their first top-tier league title, and they beat Madden, who were going for the same crown, and they beat them in the final round of the league. So them two teams know each other pretty well. St. Peter's reached the playoff stages last season, so they'll be hoping to go one step further, and so will Mahary. They didn't make it out of their group last year, so they'll be hoping to go one step further, and of course they'll be buoyed by the return of their All-Ireland winning captain Aidan Falker, along with Ben Creeley and Kieran Higgins as well. Group D then of the senior championship, it includes Armagh Harps, Drummondhee, Mullabon and Ballymacnabb. Not much recent championship history between these four teams, except Ballymacnabb and Drummondhee, who were in the same group last year, and Ballymacnabb saw out a fairly convincing victory that time. Mullabon, of course, are going into the championship having secured some silverware this year. They won the Division 1B league title, so they'll be playing in the top flight next year, while Ballymacnabb, along with Sarsfields, have been relegated to Division 2A for next season. So to remain senior clubs, they'll have to go and win the senior championship. Just before I finish up, I did speak to Cross McLean's Callum Cumiskey about their group and about the upcoming championship. So we'll hear from him now, and then we'll be back next week. There's junior championship games taking place all this weekend on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So we'll maybe have a review show for either Sunday evening or Monday, and then we're straight into our previews for the senior and intermediate championships the following weekend. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to keep an eye out on all our social media pages for all updates on the club championships, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and follow us on YouTube and Spotify as well, if that's where you get your podcasts. So we're going to hear from Callum now, and we'll be back hopefully next week with a review of the junior championship. So Callum, just get your immediate reaction to the draw there. You have Greenmore, Clonagale and Sarsfields, two previous championship final meetings there in the past 2 years. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's 100%, Sean, and even more than that. I think we played Sarsfields and Clans both last year in the group stages, so we'll be taking nothing for granted going down there. We know what both teams are going to bring, and we got a couple of surprises last year in the group stages. We know that it's just a matter of getting over the line and progressing, so that'll be the main thing.
The group stages, I suppose, how do you feel about them, Callum? Because they are just week by week. You suppose you have to take every game as it comes. Just there's injuries, suspensions, everything can happen from week to week.
Yeah, 100%. You have to take every game on its merit. You can't be looking ahead too far, because we seen last year we went down to Clonagale and we were very nearly pipped at the end with a goal from Shane McParland, and then a week later out in Silverbridge we played Armagh Harps, and we were very lucky to get over that game too after extra time. So as you say, it's game by game, and that's all you can really do in the group stages.
And I know you'll be welcoming the county boys back now shortly. I don't think they're back yet, but a few All-Ireland medals, and a few more All-Ireland medals in Crossmaglen too, Callum. So I'm sure you're delighted to have them boys back as soon as possible.
Oh, it's brilliant. They're going to give the rest of the team an awful lift. Like, if you have one or two, never mind 3 All-Ireland winners coming back into a team, they're only going to do one thing and lift the team. So we'll be glad to have them back and within the group as soon as possible.
And being defended champions, Callum, you are going for 3 in a row now. Does that be the target immediately, or do you sort of wait till the group stage is over and see how everything fares then?
Funny, I was just looking back at it myself there. I think the last time that a cross team put 3 county championships back to back was back in 2010, 11, 12, and they went on and won 4 or 5 in a row that time. But the point is that doing 3 in a row is very hard to achieve. And for us as a group of players, we're a new generation within the club and we want to create our own little bit of history. And that'll be in the back of the mind too. It's just more motivation heading into this year's championship.
Good stuff, Callum. Thank you.
No bother.
Someone hurls through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Arriving Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score Armagh were looking for.
Anto Duffy kicks this one in, that's absolutely superb.